Thank you, Anna, and to POPAI Russia. My presentation, as you've just heard, is based on content provided by UK retailers and brand owners that are members with POPAI in the UK. The event is on the 29th of June in London, so I've worked with those retailers to bring you the content, a small part of the content today in half an hour. The whole purpose of that session and what I can give you today is to understand the various touch points that exist in the UK market and that are being used by UK retailers. This is important because it may be that the solution is not digital. I know that's a strange thing to say when I'm standing here in a digital signage forum, but it may be that the choice is traditional POP. Getting that right at the beginning is very important. Then we move on to understanding how to set objectives, choosing the right digital tool. It may be something that's mobile-based, interactive, touchscreen, window. We'll look at all of these and how UK retailers are using them. Absolutely critical to any digital project is getting the right stakeholders, choosing the right internal team. You'll see from one case study that Sky in UK shopping malls used 5 external agencies, each with their own expertise, as well as their own internal teams. Going right round full circle, measurement can only happen if those objectives were clearly set out at the beginning. So I'll hopefully show you how some of our UK retailer members have set those objectives, planned, engaged the stakeholders, executed the campaign, and then finally measured them. Just to give you some context of the UK retail space, this first slide here, if anybody works in the UK retail sector, is very, very good news. What it means, in the UK, people are flocking back to shops. Since 2013, we've seen a gradual increase in the first column here in people going in store. People want to shop. Actually, in the UK, shopping is a more common pastime than going to the pub, which I find hard to believe. Also, shoppers say that they will pay more for a better experience in store. They want to have a physical experience. And this is where digital in store can really come to life and play its part. And shoppers say they will use touchscreens and interactive if it's there. When it comes to recall, shoppers remember. They know they've seen digital. Things are moving. They see it even more. You can see on the very far side, nearly 12% of shoppers look at something if it's moving in a window. Shoppers are more likely to go in the UK to a retailer that embraces digital technology. And that's even more so with younger shoppers. Anybody that's been to the UK, especially London, maybe Manchester, Birmingham, some of the bigger cities, will see that digital is absolutely everywhere. Retailers are encouraging shoppers to take their phones, use them in store, touch screens, wave at a screen, read a screen. It really is everywhere. However, I'm going to just calm the excitement with this quote from the Chief Customer Officer of House of Fraser, that there have been too many instances in recent years of retailers getting carried away with gadgets and widgets that don't focus on what the shopper actually wants. And that is key to anything in store. With the POPAI Russia Awards this year, you'll see lots of entries that have digital interactive elements, and the same in the UK. But the best ones are those where it has been carefully selected, chosen, measured, as we'll see with some of the examples now. So I'm going to take you through 3 stages with some examples from the UK of how our retailers are working through the digital journey. It is a minefield, it is very difficult, and on so many occasions it does go wrong. The idea behind this content today and the session in London is to try and break down that digital journey into simple chunks, simple sections that we can use to help us get it right. So within this section, I'm going to look at 4 examples shared with us from Boots, from EE, the mobile phone operator, Cancer Research, which is a UK charity, as the name would suggest, but they have hundreds and hundreds of shops on the UK high street. And finally, I'm going to use the example of Heinz, perhaps how not to do it. For each example, I'm listing the key points, the summaries, then I'll show you exactly what it is that the retailer has done. And where there is video content to bring it to life, we will show that too. Diabetes in the UK is quite prevalent. A lot of people have type 2 diabetes, and Boots, being a chemist, has a lot of customers that come into store for help. And they saw digital as an opportunity to complement the in-store experience by creating something called Health Coach. What it does is create a unique program for each shopper based on their health and their diabetes status. They do this in store, and they log in, they take away an app, and that can help them after they've been in store. Now, this is massive change for Boots. Boots is one of the oldest UK retailers. It's been on the high street since the mid-1800s, and they are the most traditional of traditional retailers. For them to suddenly break away and do something digital was a massive, massive step change. And we'll see more about this later on in terms of the strategy behind executing. This next case study has a nice bit of video to come, but the key points here: Carphone Warehouse is a UK retailer for telecoms with different mobile phone operators within it. So Vodafone will be in there, EE, 3Mobile, etc. EE worked with Carphone Warehouse to produce a virtual reality activation. It demonstrated the speed and the key features of their network, but they wanted to engage shoppers in a different way, get them to have fun in store. Can we play the video?
How does EE use the Internet of Things to connect with consumers in store? We knew how long shoppers usually engage with the average in-store sales display, 10 seconds. We wanted to entice customers to really connect with our brand. So EE created a series of fun, augmented reality in-store experiences, each one showing customers the benefits of our mobile network. We distributed remotely via Intel's system, in partnership with Dixon's Carphone Warehouse, rolling out across 200 of their stores, a UK first on this scale. The data we gather using the technology allows us to offer our customers more targeted communications and products for the future. We now achieved a dwell time of 80 seconds per shopper, 8 times longer than the average, and the data gathered is providing insight we've never had before. We not only know what's going on in stores, We have ongoing, focused engagements with thousands of excited, existing and potential customers. A technology revolution is brewing. In the landscape of the connected world, this is just the start.
So now, a slightly unusual example from cancer research. So I mentioned it's a cancer charity. They have hundreds of stores on small high streets in the UK, and they realized that digital gave them an opportunity to engage with potential donors, people to give them money, when the shops were closed, and they used their windows for this video. Fantastic demonstration of using mobile phones with screens in the window or projection. So far there's been some small case studies there of how retailers are choosing digital to engage with the shopper. But just because something can be done doesn't mean it should be done. And there's a very successful app in the UK, maybe here, I don't know, called Blip AR. And it's augmented reality on the phone in store. And I wonder whether there's anything this app can't do in terms of the augmented reality experience. But in the UK, in a supermarket, shoppers will spend 40 seconds in the category at sauces, tomato sauce, brown sauce, whatever. And this digital app, I think, is trying to get the shopper to do too much. So firstly, you've got to have Wi-Fi, then you've got to open the app, then you've got to scan it, then you've got to interact with it. The content works offline at home, which is the plus point, but it's tomato sauce. I put it on my chips. I wonder about the relevance in asking the shopper to do so much in the store, particularly in grocery. So these tips on the screen are not from me, they're from brands and the retailers that we've worked with to put together the content for today. Very simply, be clear on that customer journey. Understand the shopper and understand the point at which digital becomes the right tool. And as I've just said, understand why. Why would you choose digital? Not just the what or the how. And consider what's relevant now to shoppers and that very, very difficult thing about looking to the future. In the UK, we've learned not to look into the future after having voted for the Brexit and seen Leicester City win the Premier League. But it is important to look ahead. And technology should solve a shopper problem. It should give them something that can't be done elsewhere. And it is always about the balance. Next section we will look is strategy. 3 case studies here, one from Shell, one from Unilever, and one from Virgin Holidays. This from Shell is another very unusual case study. So in the UK, petrol retailers rely heavily on getting the shopper out of their vehicle into the forecourt shop for extra incremental purchases. However, Shell, having interviewed their shoppers, realized that for a number of their customers, getting out of that car was a real frustration. Getting into a queue was a frustration. And if shoppers knew that it was a particularly busy petrol station, they would not go. They would go elsewhere, and Shell would lose the sale altogether. So they created a mobile pay system, which is very targeted. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's worked very, very well for them. And this short video will show you how that's worked.
From busy bakers to hectic decorators to multitasking mums, we know you're busy. That's why we've teamed up with Apple Pay and PayPal to offer you Fill Up and Go, a speedy, secure mobile payment service. Here's how it works. Once you've downloaded the app, simply pull up to the pump, open the app, enter your code, or use your thumbprint to log in. Then scan the QR code or enter the pump ID. And that's it. No more queuing behind weekly shoppers. No more leaving the kids behind when you pay. Just fill up and go. And we'll even send you an electronic receipt, leaving you to get on with your busy life. Fill Up and Go from Shell. Download and register now.
Without understanding the strategy behind it, that would seem a very strange solution to keep shoppers out of your stores. But when you think about, as Shell have done, understanding the frustrations and the challenges and the problems that some of their shoppers have, this solution is absolutely perfect. And it's no surprise that it's now all across the UK. Unilever in the UK are leaders in terms of their global structure for technology, and they test a lot of their digital technologies in the UK first. They created a solution in store which combined digital screens, static screens, and animated solutions to help shoppers right across their categories understand what product was right for them at the fixture. And you'll see from this picture, only a picture for this case study, you'll see from this picture how impactful this can be in store. And you'll see the different elements, the screens there. The final case study in this section, Virgin Holidays. A lot of Virgin Holidays are quite expensive. They have a high ticket value. And in order to overcome the barrier with some of their shoppers, they created a virtual reality solution to bring to life the holiday experience in the store. The content was filmed from the eyes of the person on the holiday, so when you wore the headset, it looked like you were there. So a really good example of how to use that kind of technology in store. Again, understanding the problem and the barrier for the shopper. There's a real clear strategy behind using that technology. A clear strategy, well planned, will result in something that's much better for the shopper, and at the end of the day, increase more sales. So top tips from Shell, from Unilever, and from Virgin. Talk to the shoppers, see what they do, see how they act in store. Use that input to shape the solution. Ensure that digital has a role, a clearly identified role in that whole shopper journey. How many conferences I've been to over the years where I've heard the words content is king. It was true 11 years ago at my first Digital Signage expo in the UK, and it's still true now. The only thing that's changed is the device on which the content is played. It is still really important to have good, strong content. And finally, it's really important, as I said earlier, to invest up front in mapping those stakeholders and partners at the start of the process. Okay, the final stage, I've put two stages together here. So planning and execution being one stage and measurement being another. And the content here, we're using the same Boots case study and then a fantastic case study which won a POPAI Gold Award in the UK and an example from Vodafone. Just to remind you, this is the Boots digital health tool. And the measurement here was across 9 trial stores, and this is now, as a success, a result of that success, it is being rolled out across all Boots Tier 1 stores in the UK. But again, that was a cross-functional team. It involved the medical team in Boots, it involved the shopper team in Boots, the creative team, and the digital team. What I like about this is they trialed it very, very quickly. They came up with a brief, they came up with a solution, and they trialed it very quickly. There's a short video now coming up to demonstrate this from Sky, but this is the most immersive, expensive, and successful digital trial I've seen, digital project I've seen in the UK, certainly in the last 5 years. In a different way to Boots, this was very, very carefully planned. 18 months from taking that first brief to execution and measurement. As I said at the beginning, 5 agencies involved in this. Now, Sky in the UK, Sky Q is a fluid way of viewing, so you can take the content around your house and flick it between lots of different devices. That's a very difficult thing to demonstrate, and this is what they did with this particular solution. Again, there's that word immersive. So they immersed their shoppers in store. They wanted to create a talking point and a social media sharing point, and boy, was it a success. The very bottom statistic there, 63% of those people that took part in this immersive experience had a demonstration by a member of staff, and a massive 58% of those hadn't intended when they went to that shopping mall to talk to Sky that day. That is a fantastic result. And here's a short video. Final case study from the UK today is from Vodafone.
Phil, could you tell in 2 words about Sky? Because Sky in Russia...
Excellent, okay. I can rewind. So Sky in the UK is well, what don't Sky do? They do TV, they do telephone, they do broadband, they own all the sports, probably all the sports teams, and their key products is TV at home on demand. So Vodafone, a name we'll be more familiar with, they use virtual reality in store to demonstrate another TV service. I use Vodafone TV on my phone, it's fantastic. And they created a global tool which then pushed out across stores. And this was another very fast trial. Once they agreed the budget, a trial went ahead very quickly, which you'll see now, and that was then rolled out.
Let's take the example of Vodafone Home. This is a crucial part of the Vodafone company strategy, yet it can be hard to explain to a customer in a store. We have a Vodafone Home area in store, but virtual reality provides a great way to entertain our customers whilst providing information to help them to make a decision. The store advisor simply invites the customer to sit down and try our VR app. Once the customer puts on the VR headset, they're transported to a familiar living room setting to get them used to the app. The voiceover then ensures they're comfortable and guides them through the whole experience. The customer can choose to learn more about broadband. They will be taken inside the fiber cable, where they will play a game catching icons of all the great content available with Vodafone Fiber broadband. At the end, the customer can discover more about the Vodafone Home packages, play the game again, or return to the living room to learn about mobile or TV. If they choose mobile, they will learn about our network's great signal coverage. They will fly through a city, through a train, up and over some mountains, and onto a beach. If they choose TV, they will play a TV challenge game related to the great TV, movie, or sport content available with Vodafone TV. At the end of their mobile or TV experience, they will have the same choices as after the broadband game. Vodafone Home is just one example of how the Vodafone virtual reality app can be used to bring Vodafone services to life. The app is designed to allow markets to localize content to suit their needs.
So, the tips from the brands and retailers that helped us there. Again, it's this keyword, take the stakeholders along that journey. It's not just about sales. That is Vodafone's tip. They said it's not just about sales. Get the full set of measurements in place before the project starts. Think about data analytics and ensure those requirements are designed in rather than retrofitted afterwards. And self-diagnostic digital tools are key. We can't be on site in every store with every app, with every screen, so it's incredibly important to make sure that the systems that we have in place are self-diagnosing. I'm going to finish now with something not from the UK, but one of my favorite examples of how disruptive digital can be. And this isn't about signage, this is about an app. So the volume on this will need to be quite loud, but it's from Guatemala, of all places, and a sneaker store.
Meatpack is the trendiest shoe store in Guatemala, a brand known for its edgy, cutting style and a store known for its unique discounts in limited edition kicks including brands like Adidas, Nike and Reebok. An icon for the sneakerhead subculture with over 60,000 fans on their fan page in less than a year. They needed to launch a new promotion that lived up to their hardcore fans, an innovative way to earn your discount. We created Hijack, an enhancement for the official Meatpack app used by our customers, using GPS tracking technology that marks every competitor's store of the brand sold at Meatpack. So every time one of our sneakerheads enters one of the stores, it triggers a special notice with a promotion. Hijack sends an alert to the person's mobile with a discount that starts at 99% and decreases by 1% every second that goes by, making the countdown stop until you reach our store. More than 600 customers were hijacked from the competitors in a week. One customer, Pedro Rodriguez, got a record-breaking 89% discount. This is the first promo campaign that started the sale in the competitors' stores.
So that's the end of my presentation, and very carefully and planned, I've left myself 46 seconds for questions.
My name is Daria, and I represent Integrated Systems Russia show. I think you should know it. So my question is, why haven't you include the digital out of home resources, and do you track people out of the buildings? And what technology do you use for that? So
using case studies from the UK, there are two that I've seen. One was with Vodafone and Google, where they had targeted ads that they then tracked to certain stores, so they could absolutely track how people had responded. And if you go onto a search engine and look, there's Adidas have done a very similar project where they had local targeted advertising for certain stores, and they could track those online promotions that were only valid for certain stores. So there are other examples. There are geo-targeting apps in the UK that will give shoppers promotional discounts, vouchers on their phone for local stores, and that's a very successful, small, young company. But tracking that whole shopper journey generally is only possible where you have a very loyal customer that is prepared to give data freely through apps and when they're logged in on websites and then when they're in store. So normal, everyday shoppers, there's no such thing as Minority Report.
What recommendation you give to the smaller companies how to create a team? Because not everybody can create like 5 different teams like Sky. How to create the right team for digital in a smaller size company?
Two things. The first one is easier. The second one is very, very difficult. So most organizations, this may not translate, but I'm going to go for it. So most organizations in the UK suffer from something called the hippo, like the hippopotamus, HIPPO. And this is the highest paid person's opinion. And this is a problem that many retailers have. And I was chatting in here last night to a retailer who is suffering from this problem right now. And the problem is a senior board level director will say something like, my competitor has a digital screen. You have 6 months to get me a digital screen in 50 stores. And there is no reason behind it. So this is the first problem. And that is difficult. What you need is shopper insight and external agencies that are expert to push back onto the hippo. We need to keep the hippo at bay. We need to keep the hippo away. We need solid customer insights. There are agencies, I know there are agencies sitting in here and hardware providers that can give you the information that you need, so that team can be built from external freelance companies or agencies. But you have to have the information and the shopper insights before taking the first step, and people can give you that.
Second question is, what is the easiest way to understand and the right way to understand that better not to do than to do it wrong way? How to understand that you are not in the position to do this?
I mean, again, that is about understanding the shopper. If you don't understand the shopper and you don't understand their journey, you don't understand what they need, it doesn't matter whether it's digital or cardboard or plastic or metal. The chances are you'll get it wrong or you'll get it right by accident. So it has to come from solid insight. That can be as simple as talking to shoppers. It doesn't have to be Kantar World Panel, €50,000 research. It can be simple research, but you have to understand what the shoppers need right at the beginning. And also you have to understand what's available, what's possible. And that's about talking to external agencies that have done this before.
So your question is very easy. No shopper's opinion, no digital, no nothing.
Yeah, and also don't, if possible, don't just rely on what shoppers say, because what shoppers say and what they do can often be two separate things. So it's important to understand how they behave, not just what they say. If you ask me a question in a shopping center, I'm likely to give you an answer that I think you want to hear, which may be different from how I shop. So it's really important to understand that shopper behavior.
About boots, case of boots with products for diabetic. And Boots, it's a format druggy or convenience shop. So What impact was this solution of digital signage solution for this for sales diabetic products? So what Boots decided his work with staff? What changes they made?
Well, with Boots, they still use their staff, but they realized they could help the shoppers more by using a digital tablet-based app when those shoppers were at home, but also in store. The staff are still very, very important. And there are. I could give a whole presentation on assisted selling in store, because that's massive in the UK, where there's the blend of staff and digital, whether it's touchscreens. I mean, Apple did this years ago, and now in the UK, lots of people are doing it, where there are interactive screens, whether it's in a Nike Town shoe shop where you can build your own trainer using touchscreens with the staff member, or whether it's Boots. The best solutions, when it's a detailed decision, need a staff member.